Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tashana. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. I hope all is well. Happy Saturday. If this is your first time tuning in, hello, hi, welcome, thank you. Get on in here. Please follow us on YouTube at Inappropriate Radio TV. No periodic table or alien talk. However, you already know the creator came through with a message. Alright. So, first of all, alright. Guys, we need to realize that how we think is not how the creator thinks. How he moves is not how we move. Okay? We don't have the full understanding of the creator in the universe in its entirety, right? We only are allowed to have access to a certain amount of information and energy as it pertains to our journey and things like that, right? God is not required to forgive you. I know that sounds crazy. We hear all the time, like, God forgives, God forgives. No, God balances. Some people may call it restoration, right? The only thing God is required, or not required, but the only thing God can forgive you for is for being disobedient. How is it that he wants us to, be forgiven and seek forgiveness, but he wrote the plan? He knows every thought, every decision, everything that you are doing, everything that you want to do, everything you can imagine doing, right? God literally has planned. He wrote it. He wrote your life out. So he doesn't need you to ask for forgiveness, right? Even though we do, even though we should, even though we're just asking him to excuse our behavior, and, allow us another opportunity to do the same thing better, in a better fashion. In all reality, forgiveness is not something that we necessarily need. We need balance. If you do something that you should not do, God already knew it was something wrong. It was bad. He makes time and room for us in order to make up, right, for the things that we do. Remember, we are like this big ball of energy, and every time you do something that is not good, you collect low vibrational energy, right? And in order to stay in good standing, like how they say the Egyptians, how they weigh the heart, and the heart should be as light as a feather. That is balance, right? If you think about it, they do what? They weigh the heart. And the only way that it makes sense is if it's balanced out, okay? It is us that needs to seek forgiveness from one another. I like to always look at the hierarchy of the universe and all of God's creations as like a big company, right? You know how everyone knows who the CEO is? Some people, they don't even know how he looks, right? Only the people that like started from the bottom, or from like the inception of the company, or people that have certain positions, only they know how he even looks or how he operates, right? And then there's all of these different levels throughout the business or the organization, right? You have people who are, directly linked in. Then you have people who are just all the way at the bottom and they're just coming in to do their job and go home, right? They're just there for the check and then they go home. So it's the same thing with the creator, right? The creator is the big boss and the universe is the company. And we don't have to necessarily know how the big boss looks to know that this is the big boss. We know the big boss exists. We know the name. We may not be able to put a face to the name all the time, but we know the boss exists and we know that there's a job that needs to be done, right? If you are wary about this message, it may not be for you. A lot of people don't really understand their relationship with the ethers, with the creator. Some people don't even have a relationship with the creator enough to say, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. This is what I should be doing, because those are all different things. And it's not up to you to determine your fate. I mean, you have choices that will mark your fate and determine the direction, but you don't usually plan ahead, what's up the road. Those 2, 3, 4, 5 mile marks, you don't put those there. They're already there. You're just traveling the journey. You're just traveling the road. So this is like the same thing, right? When you go through different levels of warfare, it's important for you to understand that forgiveness is, and we talked about forgiveness before, but not in this light, right? It was a different take on it. I don't want to take away from the segment, but in reality, being able to forgive a person is what will keep you. And this is kind of what we talked about. Forgiveness puts you in the right frequency, right? But the creator just gave me the download. Like, the forgiveness is not for him. It's for you. God doesn't need you at all. God doesn't need us. God doesn't need humans. He granted us the gift of life. He's granted us our spiritual insight. He's given us spiritual abilities. He's giving us a consciousness and a level of intellect that his other creations don't quite have, right? So if you are able to place yourself in a position where you can ask the creator to bless you in ways that require you to not only have your faith increase, but for it to be a telltale sign. Because the original question was, how do you know that God has forgiven you? And again, it goes back to the initial download for this level of conversation for forgiveness. It has nothing to do with God. You are required to forgive others, to put yourself in the proper frequency, and you are required to forgive yourself, to keep yourself in the proper frequency, right? Anything outside of that is like, okay, I'm not really sure how this is supposed to go. I'm sure I'm supposed to do something like this. I'm just not sure exactly what and how, right? So it goes back to being fully invested in your relationship with the creator enough to know that he has already forgiven you before you even did it. You don't need to go to your teacher and tell your teacher that you have homework to do. They assigned the homework. They know. So it's the same thing with the creator. The creator doesn't need you to repent to him I'm sorry. He does need you to repent, but he doesn't need you to ramble on about the things that you've done that you feel are unjust. Because remember, a lot of the things we do that we feel is bad is all a part of the plan. Why would you need to be forgiven for something that you were supposed to do? Okay? The forgiveness is for yourself, and it is for others. It is for this earthly plane. Asking to repent or having to repent is when you feel remorse, right? You need to feel that what you've done is wrong. You don't need to necessarily ask for forgiveness because the Creator has already forgiven you. Everything you do was supposed to happen. So you don't need to be forgiven for that. You need to ask other people for forgiveness for the way that you made them feel, for the things that you made them think, for the things that you may have done or said, and for the things that you have caused to shrink away in their lives, the things that you may have ruined for other people. And the first segment where we talked about forgiveness was really about being able to pray and build a relationship with the Creator and to forgive other people for any transgressions or anything that they have done against you, and how God forgives us, right? So in order for us to be forgiven, we have to forgive. It was like along those lines, okay? This now is more so